this video, we're going to be discussing file sync. This is very, very important in the event that we ever lose any one of the two master control computers running on the console. The great thing about a Pro 3, 6, 9, and X console is they have two master control computers, so in the event if any one of them were to go down, the console's still going to be able to function and most importantly pass audio. With two master control computers, one is always the active while the other one is running in standby in the background. When the master controller actually fails, we have to go in and make sure that we're going to transfer our show file data over to the next computer. Let's head over to the console and take a look and see how we do that. As we look at the console, you notice that I actually have tracks playing back. The reason why I'm doing that is I'm going to demonstrate passing audio through two floor wedges that I have plugged into the console to show you that we don't lose any audio whenever we transfer master controllers. Because I can't actually make any of the master controllers fail, I'm still going to go ahead and walk you through the process to swap master controllers. If the master controller happened to fail during the show, the master controller running in standby would automatically take over for us and we would see a red status light up here in the right-hand corner on either side of the screen. If that's the case, we can go ahead and click on the filing page by double pressing the quick access. Now you see that we're in the filing screen, and down here on the left-hand side, our file sync tab is illuminated in red. That's letting us know that our files are not synchronized. Let's go ahead and click on that. Now we're presented with our master controller file synchronization window. We know that the files are not synchronized by looking over here on the right. We see that the status is not synchronized. We can also see that the two files are showing different under the status window. What we need to do at this point, just for the demonstration purposes, we're going to need to make MC2 active here. If master controller 1 was in fact failed, we would notice that MC2 would be the active controller. If that was the case, we would also see a bunch of files indicated in red below here. Once I actually transfer to MC controller 2, you will see briefly on the screen a bunch of files that were loaded on the console surface showing up in red. So let's go ahead and make master controller 2 active. But before I do that, I'm going to bring up the monitor so this way you can hear a little bit of the audio passing as I transfer the information over to master controller 2. Okay, now we see that master controller 2 is active. You also notice that all the files on the console did briefly appear as all the information transferred over. We're still seeing not synchronized up in the top right-hand corner. That's because we actually need to take the show file listed under MC1 and transfer it now to MC2 because that's the file that we were using during the time of the failure. So let's click on the show file, head down here to copy to MC2, and again, I'm going to bring the audio in so you could hear that we're not going to lose any audio during this transfer process. As you notice, now the files are synchronized and everything is green again. So we can go ahead and close out here. Now you'll notice that we have two files not saved. That's because we were working off of MC1 when that unit failed, so now we need to resave these files to MC2. So let's go ahead and click Save. We'll have the pop-up, we'll click OK, and we see the preset as well as the show files are now saved and the not saved has gone away. Now I'm going to show you how to reset any one of the failed master controllers. If we look on the console just above pop groups 7 and 8, we see 4 small holes, and below those holes are reset buttons. If we look to the left, we have scan, MC1, MC2, and router. If we reset the scan or the router during the show, you will in fact lose audio, so do not do this when you're passing audio during your show. Now we could reset the failed master controller. For the demonstration in the video, I made master controller 1 be the failed computer. It is very important that you do verify which master controller is currently the active running computer, so this way we don't reset the wrong one because we will lose audio and the show will go down. We could verify this again by looking over up at the two USB keys. If we notice, below USB key 2, the active light is illuminated, so letting us know that MC1 is our failed. Now we're going to reset Master Control 1. In my front of house rack, I always keep one of my T10 screwdrivers. This works perfectly in getting inside to hit the reset button. So let's go ahead and do that. You just put the screwdriver in gently and you just press down and release. And you'll notice that Master Controller 1 screen has gone black, and instantly the screen is going through the reboot process. You'll notice that this takes a small portion of time. If we look up here, we see that we have a red status light showing that Master 1 is in failure. This is exactly how the console would look if we were to lose any one of the Master Controllers. You also notice that Master Controller 2 did flash. This is okay, and that's normal because the console is starting to do its internal scan and its diagnostics to get the Master Controller 1 back online. And quickly as it took me to explain that, Master Controller 1 is back online. We have two green status lights and we can continue on with our show. And now we have our redundant Master Controller 1 as the standby, waiting for any other events that may happen. One important thing I want to point out to you, if the console was to ever lose power for any reason, upon booting back up, you're going to notice that your automation control on the control surface is blacked out and not illuminated. We could also see that any of the names of our show automation is not illuminated on the top screens. We'll also notice in the file window that our show file is not loaded. This is normal. If that's the case, simply head here into the file window, select on the file that you are currently working on, hit load. At that point, you need to head over to your automation window, and then you could scroll down to the song that you last were working on, just like this, and now the console's ready to continue on with the show. So that's how you do the file sync. As you see, this is a great feature to have. One thing I just wanted to explain, for anybody out there that's going to be using the iPad with the console, in the event of a file sync or swapping master controllers, you will notice that your iPad is going to disconnect from the console. Once the console is booting back over to the master controller, in the very short time that it took, the MC is actually going to restart the router and the iPad is actually going to regain connection again and it'll be functioning as normal.